वेलकम टू येट अनदर रीडिंग सेशन। और आज एक बहुत अच्छी चीज़ मुझे मिली है और मैं जब उसको रीड आउट कर रहा था तो मैंने देखा उसको डॉक्स में मैंने सेव करके रखा है। बहुत बेहतरीन है और बिना टाइम वेस्ट किए अब मैं रीडिंग शुरू करता हूँ। Today, we are going to discuss a very important issue related to the 8th Central Pay Commission. Normally, whenever people hear the name Pay Commission, they immediately think about salary increase, fitment factor, arrears, allowances, pension, and how much government employees will get. This is natural also because salary directly affects lakhs of government employees and pensioners. But this article is saying that the real issue is much bigger than just salary increase. The real question is whether India has a clear, fair, and financially sustainable system to decide public sector compensation. Public compensation means the salary, allowances, and pensions paid by the government to its employees, officers, pensioners, and different public functionaries. Public compensation means the salary, allowances, and pensions paid by the government to its employees, officers, pensioners, and different public functionaries. This is not just a technical or administrative matter. It is connected with governance, public trust, financial discipline, and the relationship between the state and the citizen. When the government decides how much salary should be given to one service, how much allowance should be given to another service, how pensions should be calculated, and how different branches of government should be treated, it is actually deciding its institutional priorities. So, the 8th Central Pay Commission should not be seen only as a wage revision exercise. It should be seen as an opportunity to ask deeper questions. Are we deciding salaries in a logical way? Are we comparing different services fairly? Are we giving allowances on clear principles? Are pensions sustainable in the long run? Are taxpayers able to understand why one group is getting one benefit and another group is getting something different? These are the bigger questions. Let us understand what pay commissions have done in India. Over the decades, pay commissions have become more than simple salary revision bodies. They do not only decide how much salary should increase, their recommendations affect the structure of government jobs, inter-service parity, promotions, allowances, pensions, and long-term financial burden on the government. Whenever a pay commission gives recommendations, its impact remains for years. It affects the central government, then many states follow it in a different ways, and finally the financial impact reaches the taxpayer and public expenditure. But the problem is that the process of pay commission is still narrow. A small body is formed for a limited time. It receives representations from different services and employee groups. Each services explains why it deserves better pay, better allowances, or better status. But India does not have one common and objective framework to compare all these claims. For example, how should we compare a police officer, an army officer, a civil servant, an engineer, a doctor, a teacher, a scientist, and a technical officer? Their work is different, their risks are different, their career paths are different, and their responsibilities are different. This is what the article calls the framework deficit. Framework deficit means the absence of a clear method or structure. We have many services and many categories of public employees, but we do not have a universally accepted system to compare risk, responsibility, hardship, technical complexity, experience, and career progression. Because of this, the system often tries to maintain parity, but it does not clearly explain the basis of that parity. Now, let us understand parity in simple language. Parity means equality or comparability. In government salary discussions, parity means that two different services or posts should get similar pay or status if they are considered equivalent. But the question is equivalent on what basis? Is it based on educational qualification? It is based on level of responsibility. It is based on risk. Is it based on years of experience of service? Is it based on decision making power? Is it based on hardship? If the basis is not clear, then parity becomes controversial. For example, two officers from two different services may reach a similar pay level after some years, but their career path may be completely different. One may have field risk, another may have administrative responsibility. One may retire early, another may serve for a longer time. One may have limited promotion opportunities, another may have more chances of promotion. If both are given similar compensation, then the system must clearly explain why. The problem is not that one service should fight with another service. The problem is institutional clarity. A democratic state must be able to explain its compensation decisions. The compensation between civilian services and the armed forces is one of the best examples of this complexity. Military careers are very different from civilian careers. In the armed forces, the structure is sharply pyramidal. This means there are many officers at the lower levels but fewer positions at the higher levels. So promotion becomes difficult as people move up. Many officers retire earlier than civil officers because the armed forces need a younger profile for operational effectiveness. The risk is also different. Military service may involve border postings, operational risk, frequent transfers, family separation, and physical hardship. On the other hand, civilian services generally have longer careers. Many civilian officers serve till a higher retirement age. Their promotion structure may be different. They may have wider administrative roles and long term institutional experience. Their work is also important, but the nature of risk and career progression is not the same as military service. So, if compensation has to be aligned between civil services and military services, then it cannot be done casually. The system must carefully consider these structural differences. This is why the article says that parity is not just a question of competition, it is about saying that one service is better than another. It is about coherence. Coherence means the system should make a sense as a whole. If one person asks why is this service getting this pay level, the government should have a clear answer. If another person asks why is this allowance given here and not there, there should be a clear answer. Without such clarity, dissatisfaction grows inside the system and public trust weakens outside the system. Another important issue raised in the article is faster career progression and reduction in experience required for senior administrative positions. In simple words, some people are reaching senior positions with less years of experience compared to earlier times. Now, this may have some positive side also. Governance is changing, technology is changing, decision making needs speed, younger officers may bring energy, new ideas, and faster working style. But the article warns that speed cannot fully replace experience. Complex policy problems require institutional memory. Institutional memory means knowledge that comes from long experience within the system. For example, if a person has handled field administration, disaster management, law and order, financial planning, public welfare schemes, and inter-department coordination for many years, then he develops judgment. This judgment cannot always be taught in a training classroom. It comes from real situations, mistakes, corrections, and long observations. So efficiency is important, but experience is also important. If senior posts are filled too early without enough exposure, then decision making may become technically fast but institutionally weak. A government officer may know rules, but wisdom comes from experience. For big policy decisions, the state needs both energy and maturity. So the compensation and promotion structure should not only reward speed, it should also value experience, responsibility, and accountability. Now let us come to allowances. Allowances are extra payments given apart from basic salary. They may be given for hardship, risk, remote location, housing, travel, uniform, special duty, night duty, operational difficulty, and many other reasons. In principle, allowances are meant to compensate employees for special conditions. If someone is working in a difficult area, he may deserve hardship allowance. If someone is facing operational risk, he may deserve risk allowance. If someone is posted in a remote region, he may deserve special compensation. But the problem is that India does not have a fully uniform and transparent framework to assess hardship and risk across services. For example, what is hardship? Is it only physical danger? Is it remote location? Is it lack of schools and hospitals? Is it extreme weather? Is it mental stress? Is it long working hours? Is it frequent transfer? Is it family separation? Different services may define hardship differently. Because of this, allowances can become inconsistent. When allowances are not based on clear criteria, two problems arise. First, employees may feel unfairly treated. Second, citizens may not understand why certain benefits are being given. Suppose one group says our work is risky, so we need allowance. Another group says our work is also risky, but we are not getting the same benefit. Without a clear evaluation method, the government faces pressure from all sides. This creates confusion and also increase financial burden. The article also talks about non-functional upgradation, commonly called NFU. Let us understand this in very simple words. In a normal system, higher pay should generally come with higher responsibility. If a person is promoted to a higher post, he gets more salary because he has more responsibility and accountability. But NFU also allows financial advancement even when the person does not get a corresponding functional operation or higher responsibility. But NFU allows financial advancement even when the person does not get a corresponding functional promotion or higher responsibility. It was introduced to address the problem of slower promotions in some services. The logic behind NFU, that is non-functional upgradation, was that some officers do not get timely promotions because there are fewer posts available. So even if they are capable and senior, they may be stuck at a lower level because the structure does not allow promotion. NFU tries to solve this by giving financial upgradation. But the article says that this creates another concern. It weakens the link between role, responsibility, and compensation. In simple words, if salary increases without a real increase in responsibility, then the compensation system becomes less logical. A person may receive higher pay but may not be performing a higher role. This can create questions of fairness. Others may ask, if responsibility has not changed, why has compensation changed? Supporters of NFU may say that it is needed because promotion opportunities are unequal. Critics may say that pay should remain connected to actual responsibility. This debate shows again that India needs a clearer compensation framework. Now let us discuss pensions. Pensions is one of the biggest challenges in public finance. India has multiple pension systems. Some employees are under old defined benefit pension systems where the pension is linked to last salary and is paid by the government. New entrants are usually under contributory pension systems where both employee and government contribute. There are also separate pension arrangements for elected representatives and some other categories. The problem is that salaries and pensions create long-term financial commitments. When the government increases salary today, it also affects pension liabilities tomorrow. This is not a one-year cost, it continues for decades. For states, the burden becomes even more serious because they have limited revenue. If a large part of the state budget goes into salaries, pensions, and interest payments, then less money remains for roads, schools, hospitals, irrigation, public transport, nutrition, welfare schemes, and development projects. This is why the article mentions fiscal space. Fiscal space means the financial room available to the government for spending on development and public welfare. If committed expenditure like salaries, pensions, and interest payments becomes too high, then fiscal space reduces. The government may still pay salaries and pensions, but it may struggle to invest in future development. This creates a difficult balance. Here we must understand one important thing. Government employees deserve their fair compensation. They run the state machinery, teachers teach, doctors treat, police maintain law and order, soldiers protect borders, clerks maintain records, engineers build infrastructure, administrators implement schemes. So the argument is not against government employees. The real argument is that compensation must be fair, transparent, and sustainable. It should protect employees but should not damage the financial health of the state. There is also a question of intergenerational equity. Intergenerational equity means fairness between present and future generations. If today's government promises very high long term benefits without proper funding, tomorrow's citizens may have to bear the burden. Future taxpayers may have to pay for decisions taken today. So, pension policy is not only an employee welfare issue, it is also a long term public finance issue. Another important point in the article is fragmentation. Pay frameworks for the executive, legislature, and judiciary evolve through different processes. The executive means government departments and services. The legislature means elected representatives. The judiciary means judges and judicial institutions. These three branches are constitutionally different and independent. That independence must be respected. But the article says that completely separate compensation processes can create inconsistency and reduce transparency. For example, if one branch gets salary revision through one mechanism, another branch through another mechanism, and another through a separate process, then citizens may not understand the logic. There may be valid constitutional reasons for separate treatment, but the principle should still be explainable. Public compensation cannot look arbitrary. In democracy, people have the right to understand why public money is being used in a particular way. Is there a public trust because becomes very important? This is where public trust becomes very important. Citizens pay taxes, even indirect taxes are paid by ordinary people when they buy goods and services. So, when the government spends money on salaries, allowances, and pensions, citizens should feel that the system is fair and justified. If compensation decisions appear politically driven, pressure driven, or unclear, then trust weakens. But if the system is transparent and based on clear benchmarks, then even difficult decisions become more acceptable. Now, the article suggests that India may need a new compensation architecture. Architecture here means structure or design. Many countries have moved away from large, infrequent pay commissions. Instead, they have created continuous and institutionalized mechanisms for reviewing public sector compensation. This means salary and allowance systems are reviewed regularly through independent bodies, clear benchmarks, and periodic assessments. India's decadal pay commission model means that after around around 10 years, a large pay commission is formed and then a big revision happens. This creates huge expectations. Employees wait for the pay commission, pensioners wait for revision, state governments worry about financial burden, media discusses fitment factor and arrears. The whole debate becomes concentrated around salary increase, but deeper structural reforms are often ignored. A continuous review mechanism may be better because it can examine issues regularly. Instead of waiting 10 years and then making a big jump, the system can keep track of inflation, responsibility, market conditions, hardships, pension sustainability, and service structure. It can make recommendations in a more stable and rational way. This may reduce sudden financial shocks and also reduce dissatisfaction. The article mentions the possibility of a national compensation authority or a specialized public service body. This does not mean one central body should control everything. India is a federal country, states have their own finances, their own priorities, and their own employees. So, any national framework must respect federalism. States should retain autonomy over implementation, but there can still be common principles. For example, a national framework can say that hardship should be assessed on certain objective indicators. Risk allowance should be based on measurable risk. Responsibility should be linked to decision making power and accountability. Experience should be valued in senior posts. Pay progression should remain connected with role and responsibility. Pension liabilities should be measured transparently. States can then adapt these principles according to their own situation. This would create balance between flexibility and coherence. Flexibility means different services and states can have different needs. Coherence means there is still a common logic behind decisions. Without flexibility, the system becomes rigid. Without coherence, the system becomes confusing. India needs both. Let us take a simple example. Suppose two employees work in two different regions. One is posted in a normal urban office, another is posted in a remote, difficult area with poor connectivity, extreme weather, and limited facilities. Is it fair to give extra allowance to the second employee? But the allowance should be based on clear criteria. The government can define remoteness, difficulty, risk, climate, infrastructure, and family hardship. Then the employee gets allowance not because of pressure but because the framework justifies it. Another example is promotion. Suppose service A has many senior posts, so officers get promoted faster. Service B has fewer posts, so officers are stuck despite experience. NFU was created to solve this kind of problem, but instead of giving financial upgradation without responsibility, the government can think more deeply. It can review cadre structure, create better career paths, give lateral responsibilities, or design compensation that acknowledges stagnation without fully disconnecting pay from role. This needs institutional thinking, not just temporary adjustment. The same applies to pensions. A sustainable pension system must protect retired employees because they served the state, but it must also protect future public finance. If a pension expenditure grows uncontrollably, governments will have less money for development. So pension reform needs honesty. It should not be emotional only. It should be based on numbers, fairness, and long-term responsibility. ये जो बात है ना, ये जो 3 पैराग्राफ था, इस 3 पैराग्राफ में पूरे आर्टिकल का सारांश है. एक तो फ्रेमवर्क बनाने की बात की गई है, नेशनल फ्रेमवर्क बनाने की बात ऊपर की गई है, लेकिन उसको इंडिया का जो फेडरल स्ट्रक्चर है, जो इंडिया का जो फेडरलिज्म है, उसको रेस्पेक्ट देने की बात की गई है. मतलब एक असेसमेंट करें आप अलाउंसेस का, पेंशन्स का, सभी चीज़ों का, उसके बाद आप इस कंक्लूजन पे जंप करें कि हमें क्या करना है. पर ये जो 3 पैराग्राफ था ना, ये वाला कि एक आदमी एक अर्बन एरिया में काम कर रहा है और दूसरा आदमी जो है वो क्या कहते हैं, एक रिमोट एरिया में काम कर रहे हैं जहाँ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर अच्छा नहीं है, कनेक्टिविटी अच्छी नहीं है, तो अलाउंस किसे मिलना चाहिए? अलाउंस देना किसको जस्टिफाइड होगा? इसका असेसमेंट कैसे किया जा सकता है? तो यहाँ पर प्रेशर की वजह से अलाउंस नहीं दिया जा रहा है, क्योंकि ऐसा फ्रेमवर्क ही है सेकंड एम्प्लॉय के लिए कि भाई हमें उसे देना ही देना है. प्रमोशन को भी लेकर के भी है. एक पोस्ट के लिए बहुत सारे लोगों का प्रमोशन हो गया, दूसरे पोस्ट के लिए नहीं हुआ, फिर एनएफयू दिया गया, लेकिन उसमें भी एक प्रॉब्लम है कि भाई आप फिनेंशियल अपग्रेडेशन तो कर दिए पर उसको रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं दिए. तो गवर्नमेंट को इसके ऊपर सोचना चाहिए, इसको रिव्यू करना चाहिए कैडर स्ट्रक्चर को. फिर पेंशन की बात आई कि भाई आप ऐसा प्रॉमिस ना कर दो, इतना ज़्यादा इन्वेस्ट अभी ना कर दो कि जो आने वाले फ्यूचर के टैक्स पेयर्स हैं उनके ऊपर पेंशन्स का बर्डन और बाकी चीज़ों का बर्डन आ जाए. तो असेसमेंट की बात की गई है. नाउ लेट अस कनेक्ट दिस डिस्कशन विद द कॉमन सिटीजन. Many people may ask, why should ordinary citizens care about pay commission? The answer is simple. Public compensation affects everyone. If salaries rise, government expenditure rises. If pension rise, long-term liabilities rise. If expenditure rises without enough revenue, either taxes may increase, borrowing may increase, or development spending may reduce. So pay commission is not only an employee matter, it is a public finance matter. At the same time, citizens also need a capable government. If salaries are too low, talented people may avoid public service. If government employees are demotivated, public service delivery suffers. If doctors, teachers, police, soldiers, and administrators are not compensated fairly, the state becomes weak. So the issue is not salary increase versus public welfare. The real issue is designing a system where public servants are treated fairly and public money is used responsibly. This is why the article says public compensation is part of the relationship between state and citizen. In a democracy, the state must not only act fairly, it must also explain its fairness. So, this was the article, and from now onwards, we will be reading on this pattern only. It will be have more detailed kind of an reading which I will do. And today it was about the pay commission, how promotion should happen, how allowances should be given, and how pension should be calculated and evaluated, and then we need to think on it. And pay commission affects everyone. It affects the spending of the government, the liability of the government, the expenditure programs, the infrastructure development. So all around it involves everything. So it is not about the government employees only, it is about the whole public finance, in which the common and ordinary citizen of the country also comes in. So this is what today's live session was all about, and we read about pay commission and things like that. So in tomorrow's live session we will be reading some another interesting stuff. Till then, thank you, peace, be happy, and bye.